Welcome to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank that brings you market views and insights on the go.
Welcome to Cut to the Chase. Today is Thursday, the 15th of May. I'm Daniel Lam, your host for the podcast. 2 nights ago, I was watching a TV with awe, looking at Trump doing a press conference. He was displaying very high energy level and enthusiasm. He's 78 years old and still displaying such vigor. And that makes me wonder what he will be doing next and what is going to be on his agenda. Well, as it turns out, he's now in the Middle East, and he has lifted the sanctions on Syria and is extending an olive branch to Iran. Why is he doing that? Well, let's go back to first principle and recall that Trump's focus is to shrink the US budget deficit. Remember, back when Trump first got elected, the US budget deficit was 3% of GDP. Fast forward 8 years later, when he got elected again, the deficit was already at 6.6% of GDP. US 10-year government bond yield jumped from 86 basis points to 4.3% during that 8-year period. Such high borrowing cost will exacerbate the budget deficit, and he needs to shrink it in order to restore confidence in the US dollar and also in the US bond market, and his logic tells him that the stock market will then follow. Now, in order to shrink this budget deficit, he will have to raise revenues and cut costs. So this is where the tariff comes in order to earn more money for the US government. Now, to reduce cost, he made initiatives such as the Dodge, and he wants to reduce military spendings. That is the reason why he wants Europe to up its own defense. That is the reason why he talked about sitting down with China and Russia to talk about reducing arms. And that is the reason why he wanted to strike a more peaceful tone with nations in the Middle East, as well as brokering the truce between Russia and Ukraine. So a more peaceful world would mean less disruption and more efficiency for the supply chain. That is going to help offset some of the inflationary effect on the US. More importantly, this would alleviate pressure on the US spending on the military and thus on the budget deficit. So over these few months, Trump's priority is to create more peace deals globally, while the trade deals will now be in an quote-unquote autopilot mode. Deals will be struck in the future with similarities to the ones that have already been made and will be done by Bessent and the trade negotiators. However, if the data in the US does turn out to be less encouraging, i.e. slower growth or higher inflation compared to expectations, then we will expect the Trump put to be put in place. It is like a valve, and Trump will tone down the tariff rhetorics in order to support US growth and lower US inflation if he needs to. So therefore, volatility is going to subside further over the next few months, and we're expecting risky assets to be mildly positive in this period. That is all from me for today. As always, if you enjoy this podcast, please don't forget to rate and like it. Thanks for listening, and we wish you a happy day ahead.
Thank you for listening to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank. For more details, visit Market Views on the Go on our website or click the link in the description.